If your insulin overheats, it's not just ruined, but it can stop working and won't necessarily lower your blood sugars as expected. We can't have that. Hi, I'm Christelle, and ever since I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in 1997, I've battled the heat to protect my insulin in several ways. From unreliable ice packs that would ruin my insulin to giant thermos whenever I'm in a hot climate. Thankfully, times have changed and we now have access to more reliable and convenient solutions, including these 3 coolers from DISONCARE, which they were kind enough to send me so I could test them out. These are convenient sizes for when I'm out and about or for quick day trips, a larger, more high-tech solution that displays the temperature for weekend getaways and road travel, and lastly, a solution for when I travel with larger quantities of insulin. I've been testing these out in the Florida heat and on my recent travels to make sure that they'll keep your liquid gold safe. Stick around and I'll show you which cooler fits your needs the best. Plus, you can find all the links down in the video description. This is the smallest, the Holiday, and this is the one I've been using on a day-to-day basis. So when I'm out and about, relaxing by the pool or on the beach. As you might know, insulin that's in use can generally be stored at room temperature for up to 28 days. It does not have to be kept in the refrigerator. However, if you're in a place where it's more than 86 Fahrenheit, so that's 30 degrees Celsius, or your insulin is exposed to prolonged sunlight, you might be in trouble as your insulin can go bad. So given I live in a hot climate and I really like to be out in the sun, a cooler like this has been a great option to keep my insulin safe. So what I like about this cooler and why it's been my everyday choice is that it's lightweight, it does not take up a lot of space, and it can keep my insulin safe for up to 16 hours. Officially, it can hold 1 insulin pen, 10 insulin cartridges, or 3 insulin vials. And yes, that is really all you should try and fit in there. And yes, you can fit 2 insulin pens in there, but I almost had a heart attack when I had a hard time getting them out again. Don't try it. If you need to bring more than 1 insulin pen, I'll show you a better option. Okay, so let's talk about how it works. This is a cooling element, and it's not just a fancy ice pack, but rather biogel that freezes at a higher temperature than water. Smart, because storing your insulin right up against ice is not a good idea. You want to store it in the freezer for 6 to 8 hours before you head out. Take it out of the freezer at least 5 minutes before you need it, and you want to leave it on the counter and let it acclimate. I like to leave it out for 30 minutes, just because I actually think it's a little bit too cold after 5. And then simply plop it into a cooler, carefully slide your insulin in there, and you're good to go. But while testing these coolers, how did I know that the temperature was what it should be, you might ask? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because the Holiday cooler also comes with a classical thermometer so they can keep an eye on things. I appreciate them including a classical thermometer because the cooler can keep your insulin safe for up to 16 hours, but it will depend on the temperature outside. If temperatures get above 95 Fahrenheit, so that's 35 Celsius, the cooling time does go down. Did you notice a QR code on the cooler? That's another neat feature. Each DISONCARE cooler comes with 2 QR code stickers. When you get your cooler, you can scan that QR code and you can register an account. So if you ever lose your cooler, if somebody finds it, they can scan that QR code and the cooler can make its way back to you. It's really a nice peace of mind feature. If you want to check out the Holiday cooler, you can find it on Amazon, and currently it sells for around $22. Although I haven't taken this cooler on board a plane yet, I could. Because just like any of the other DISONCARE coolers, it is TSA approved. Sweet. But this other cooler, the Odyssey, has been flying with me, and the folks at TSA did not care. As long as the cooling element is completely frozen, you should have no problem taking it through security at the airport. I usually don't even tell the officers that I'm bringing insulin with me. However, I will usually take the cooler out of my bag and let it go through the X-ray machine separately. I also bring a doctor's note that states that I live with diabetes and I need to bring my insulin and supplies with me, but I've never had to show it. Actually, I've never had an issue with airport security at all, not even when I was traveling with really large quantities of insulin. What's really cool about the Odyssey is that you can see the inside temperature directly on the cooler's digital LED display. I think this is a perfect medium-sized cooler for most vacation or work trips. It holds 2 to 3 insulin pens depending on which ones you use, or 4 insulin vials. And I can easily pack 2 insulin pens plus 2 insulin cartridges. Enough insulin to keep me going for well over a month. Another thing that makes this cooler ideal for air travel, aside from it being TSA approved, is that it'll keep your insulin cold for up to 48 hours, just using the blue biogel. And if you need more cooling time than the 48 hours, and if you do not have access to a freezer, There's also a solution for that can extend your cooling time for up to 60 hours. But let's talk more about that a little later, as that solution also works for another cooler I want to show you. You use this the same way as you use the Holiday. Freeze the cooling element for 6 to 8 hours, leave it out for 5 minutes, plop it into the cooler with your insulin, and you're ready to go. It did show kind of low temperature, so I tested it out, and it even showed 32 at one point. So I put in an old insulin pen. This is old insulin. You can see it's not frozen, and I left this in there for hours. So yeah, that does give me confidence that even if it's showing a little bit temperatures on the lower side, it still works. And just like it is with the Holiday, the temperature inside the Odyssey cooler will depend on the outside temperature. Wait a minute, you might say. That only guarantees refrigerator temperatures for up to 36 hours. And you're right. Remember, this is not a permanent replacement for a fridge. The main goal of these coolers is to keep your insulin safe so it doesn't get too hot and go bad. And based on my tests, they deliver on that. Back when I backpacked through India many years ago, I had all my insulin in big thermos, but the thing is, you should not store your insulin directly on ice. So what I would do is I would simply put them in the thermos, close the lid, and hope for the best. And my insulin went bad. Twice. Not ideal, and being that far from home, it was quite the logistic nightmare. I think the Odyssey cooler is the most versatile of the coolers that I tried from DISONCARE. This one is white, but it also comes in a lot of other fun patterns and colors. And I find that the LED display as well as a QR code gives significant peace of mind. Let me show you how the LED display works. You just tap the lid to see the temperature. And if you open up the cooler, you'll see that the way it measures it is this thermometer that hangs inside the cooler. I know this might look a bit big, but it's actually only 1 pound, and I can carry it around with one hand. And I have small hands, kind of, I think. If you want to check out the Odyssey cooler, you can find it on Amazon for around $40, or if you don't care about the LED display, it's only $26. Now let's talk about the last cooler that I've been testing. Actually, let me show you the unboxing so you can get an idea of what else comes in the box. And we'll also talk about that backup solution that can extend the cooling time. This is the Intercontinental. Let's unpack it. So you can see the color here is silver, and that's all the things that it does. Here you can see what's in it. So we're going to find the cooler, storage, emergency bottle, a pen bag, and instructions, QR code. But let's see. This is the actual cooler. It comes in this protective plastic. There you go. Unscrew the lid. See, in here, then we have so it can show the temperature, and you can put your an insulin pen in here if you want to. What else is in here? Protective stuff. This is the biogel. Blue biogel. So this one now needs to go in the freezer for 6 to 8 hours. They also have the instructions printed directly here on the biogel, which is nifty. Don't open it, don't drink this. So yeah, we're gonna put it in the freezer 6 to 8 hours. Gonna take it out for 5 to 30 minutes, plop it into the cooler, and then the insulin on top, put on the lid, and it's gonna start to cool. See what else is in the bag, or in the box. Okay, now it's empty. I'm gonna put that over here. So this is the emergency cooler. So you can fill this with cold water. And then, oh, this is a QR code. You can take that off. Let's do that. Put that on the cooler. Where do we want that? Here. And then just remember to register the QR code. And then there's instructions if you need those. But yeah, so all the stuff that comes with this one. Intercontinental, as you can see, is the largest of the 3 coolers. So this is ideal if you need to bring a larger quantity of insulin or other meds with you. This cooler can hold 5 to 7 insulin pens or 6 insulin vials, and it'll keep your insulin safe for up to 60 hours. And you know the drill by now, how many pens will depend on the type of medication that you use. I was able to fit 4 insulin pens and 3 cartridges into this cooler. That's enough to keep me alive for months. We have power outages here in Florida, as well as hurricanes and other nasty weather coming through. And I really like the idea of having an option of storing my insulin safely if we don't have power. So I do keep the biogel in my freezer at all time. And here's the beauty of these coolers: you can extend the cooling time. So when your blue biogel is no longer cooling, you can use the backup cooler. This one, it's empty. What you do is that you fill it with cold water, but you want to make sure that that water is not colder than 2 degrees Celsius. As I mentioned, that will give you an extra 12 hours of cooling time for the Odyssey, and it'll give you an additional 14 hours of cooling time for the Intercontinental. And of course, the beauty of this is you can always just refill it and continuously get extra cooling time. If you want to check out the Intercontinental cooler, you can find it on Amazon, currently for around $59.99. So let's summarize a bit here. These coolers work, and I've found that each of these 3 can be useful in different situations. Holiday for day trips or just everyday life in the sun. Odyssey for vacation time or work trips. And the Intercontinental for when I need to keep larger quantities safe for a longer time. The only thing that I regret about trying these DISONCARE coolers is that I didn't get the Odyssey cooler in a more fun pattern. If you're interested in seeing more diabetes product reviews from me, check out this video where I show different medical ID options, or this one where I review a whole bunch of sugar-free snacks. And while you do that, why not subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications? That way you'll never miss a thing. I hope you can keep cool this summer, and of course that your insulin can as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.